So you're thinking about moving to Needham. One of my very first pros and cons videos is all about Needham, and now I'm going to provide you with an even deeper dive into what life is like for its residents. We'll be talking about real estate, things to do, schools, culture, and the community. I like to share things that you're not going to find just by Googling. And stick around till the end so I can share a funny tidbit about the storied Needham-Wellesley sports rivalry. I'm Jane. I'm a realtor in Wellesley, Massachusetts, which is the town right next to Needham. My channel is about what it's like to live in the Boston suburbs. Subscribe to stay updated, and if you're thinking about moving here, reach out as I would love to help you. I'm actively working with buyers in Needham at this very moment. In a nutshell, Needham is a great place to work and to live. It's had a super hot real estate market since the day I started doing this full-time in 2005. We're going to dive into the real estate a little bit later. One of the things I love about Needham is the vibrant town center. The town is conveniently located on Route 95, so it's a convenient commute to downtown Boston via car or commuter rail, and also to the greater Boston tech suburbs like Waltham, Needham proper, which also has a fair amount of commercial space, and towns like Dedham. So here's some basic facts about Needham. The population is about 31,000, and as I mentioned, it has a terrific town center. One of the things that's great about the center is there's a ton of restaurants. Some of my favorites are Blue on Highland, which is a really fun place to have a drink and grab some food. The James, which is an Irish pub, which I actually dive into in my previous Needham video, so check that out. Another favorite is Cook. It's just called Cook, and that they do well. And all of these restaurants have great outdoor space. There's another one called The Farmhouse. So during COVID, we actually spent a lot of time dining out in Needham because they had such terrific outdoor space where you felt safe. Shopping in Needham is a treat as well. There are some great boutiques downtown, and it's also super convenient to some nearby malls, such as Legacy Place in Dedham, which has a very large LL Bean store. And also the Chestnut Hill Mall is a terrific mall, and the Natick Mall is a terrific mall, all within about 8 miles. Typical of our towns around Greater Boston, Needham has terrific medical care. The Beth Israel Deaconess Hospital has a branch hospital right in Needham Center. And fun fact, if you ever end up in the emergency room and a beautiful athletic blonde girl takes you in the emergency room, it just might be my niece. There's other medical facilities, and of course, you're just a short distance to the greatest medical building centers. You're just a short distance to downtown Boston's outstanding hospitals. One thing I didn't get into in my previous video about Needham was how terrific the conservation land is and the open space. So there's plenty of places to walk and explore. One of my favorites is Cutler Park Reservation, which has beautiful walking trails around a marsh. So it's a really fun place for bird watching. You can also do non-motorized boat things there like kayak and canoe. So the schools in Needham have been a perennial top performer. Niche.com gives Needham an A+ rating. Sometimes buyers ask me to compare the towns and tell me how they differ from each other. So one of the ways that I will point out that Needham is a little bit different from like Lexington or Wellesley or Weston is that if you look at BostonMagazine.com's ranking of public schools, you'll find that Needham is just a hair below those other towns that I just mentioned. I still think the schools are outstanding, and I don't think you can miss, and I think that niche.com rating bears that out. In regard to the economy, you can easily live and work and never leave Needham. There's top employers like TripAdvisor and of course the hospital, the Beth Israel Deaconess Hospital. And there's a fair amount of commercial space developed on the eastern side of 95. So actually right closer to Boston, right next to Newton. A couple large hotels, and there's a very large bank headquartered in town that does a lot of loans for builders called the Needham Bank. So here's my thoughts on real estate when you're comparing it to Wellesley, for example. When I started selling real estate full-time in 2005, we used to say you get a lot more for your money if you went to Needham under $1 million. Of course, mind you, that's 18 years ago, so now we would probably say under 1.5. So at that time, Needham actually had a lot of homes that were selling for $450,000. So they went through this tremendous period of teardowns and new builds. So we ended up with a fair amount of new construction, and your dollar went a little further. So fast forward to 2023, it's been a wildly popular town for trade-up buyers and relocating buyers, and the median price is now 1.4 million. You'll find that there's more things under $1 million still compared to Wellesley, and maybe not so many things over 3 million. But over these last 18 years, I feel like they've gotten a lot more similar. If you're shopping for something over 3 million, you're definitely going to find more land in Needham associated with that house than you would compared to Wellesley. Right now, in the spring of 2023, there are just 29 homes available for sale in Needham in March, and they are ranging from $340,000 to $6.5 million. Now, for $340,000, you're not getting much. So if you're thinking about moving to Greater Boston, to Needham, or any one of the surrounding towns, please reach out, as I would love to help you. I hope this video has provided you with some perspective and some helpful information. So now my story about the Needham-Wellesley rivalry. I talked about this in my pros and cons video, but Needham and Wellesley have the oldest rivalry for high school football in the country, which dates back to the late 1800s. And check that video out, as I shared some fun pictures of what it was like in the olden times. And my son played football for Wellesley High School. I have to say, back in those years, Needham was definitely coming out on top. Since then, but overall, they're pretty even on wins and losses on the Thanksgiving game. So when my girls were in high school, one of my daughters decided to play in the powder puff football game, which is the day before Thanksgiving. And she's actually a very tall ballerina, so she really had not done many sports with a ball, but she really was into it. We got her some cleats. She went to practice, but she had to miss a practice to go for the lead in the Nutcracker. So anyway, so game day comes, she's ready to go in, and these coaches take it so seriously. Most of them were firefighters that knew each other, and my daughter didn't even see it down. And my husband, who had raised 3 kids and never complaining about a sport or representation or coaching, sent a letter saying how disappointed he was, because he really thought powder puff was not supposed to be quite so cutthroat. So we take our sports seriously around here, and don't you forget it. Anyway, subscribe to stay updated, and please reach out and let me know if you have any questions, or have I forgotten something that you think I should share about Needham? Let me know. I'd love to hear from you. Thanks for watching.